Thinking about buying a franchise? Then the How to Buy a Franchise show is just for you. Here's your host, Dr. John Hayes. He's the author of numerous best-selling books about franchising and an international speaker at franchise conferences. Dr. Hayes is one of the few people in the world to be an advisor to franchisors and franchisees, to own multiple franchises, and to serve as CEO of a major American franchise company. Listen up for honest advice and guidance that will help you make good decisions about owning one or more franchises.
Are you among the millions of people who right about now are thinking, what do I do next? I lost my job. What do I do next? Where do I go from here? Well, this happens every so often in the United States. Cyclically, we have good years and we have bad years. And when we come out of a downward cycle and start to climb out of that, a lot of people who were furloughed or who just don't have a job to go back to, or more than likely don't want to go back to the old job, they start thinking about franchising. And I want to spend a couple minutes talking to you about that. I'm John Hayes, and I'm the Titus Chair for Franchise Leadership at Palm Beach Atlantic University, West Palm Beach, Florida. I blog at howtobuyafranchise.com. I interview people on my YouTube channel, the How to Buy a Franchise Show. And I want to spend a few moments with you as you think about what are you going to do next. Many people decide in this evaluative period, let's say you've been on unemployment for a while, and you really needed the break anyway, or you really were hoping for a different job. And during this period of time, you've been thinking about, where do I go next? And to get to where you want to go, you might have to go back to school. And some people will do that, and a lot of people won't want to do that. Of course, most people are going to go back to a job because it's the safe thing to do. But in America, we know that most people really don't like their jobs. Like 2/3 of Americans, 2/3 of employees really would rather have a different job. They don't like the boss, or they don't like the product, or they don't like the hours or the commitment, or they don't like the pay, any number of things that they don't like. Now, some of those people need to stay employees. For one thing, we need employees in America. Right now, we don't. So many people are being laid off every week. But in time, as we come through this pandemic and as businesses reopen, they're going to be hiring now signs in windows again. And there are going to be good opportunities for people. At the university where I teach, we're hiring a new dean. We're hiring a new chief advancement officer. These are big jobs. These are important jobs. So there are jobs that are available to people, but through times of evaluation like this, a disruptive time, people make the decision they want to do something else. They really don't want to work for anyone again. They want to work for themselves. And they want to find a way to build their personal wealth, and franchising is the way to do that. There is no more powerful system in the world than franchising when it comes to business development. Now, a lot of people don't think highly of franchising because they think it's not really entrepreneurial, because you're following someone else's system. But I say, what's wrong with that? Having been a franchisee on numerous occasions and enjoying my experience and enjoying the money that I made from those opportunities, what's wrong with following someone else's system? The truth is, franchising is not very entrepreneurial unless you're a franchisor, because then you're putting it all out there. It's up to you to come up with the idea, up to you to come up with a system. It's up to you to test the system. It's up to you to go out and find franchisees and sell your concept to them, your brand, and then train them and support them and watch how they develop as franchisees. But franchisees are not very entrepreneurial. Franchisors don't want franchisees to be entrepreneurial. Franchisors want franchisees to follow the proven system. And that's what franchising is about. It's a system. A lot of people talk about the franchise industry. They pretty much don't know what they're talking about when they speak that way. There is no franchise industry. There is a franchise community. There's a franchise methodology. And that's really what you want to latch onto. It's a methodology that allows you to build a business where you own the equity in that business. You won't own the brand. You don't own the logo. You don't own the training materials or the marketing materials. You don't even own the phone number most of the time. Franchisees don't own much, but they own the equity in the business, and that's really what you want. Why do you need more than that? You start a franchise in year one, and after 5 years or 20 years or whatever it might be, where you still have one unit or maybe you have 3 units by the time you say, I'm going to retire, you own the equity in those businesses or that one unit, and that's what you sell. So you started with no customers. Now you have 1,020 customers, and you're doing $1.2 million in sales a year. And based on the industry that you're in, which isn't franchising, it's whatever the product is that or service that you're representing. And based on that industry, there's a variable that you will use to sell your business to the next franchisee. And you build it following someone else's system. And it's a business that's your own. You're the boss. And that's what so many people desire and are thinking about right now. As we come out of this recessionary period of time that created by this virus, there are going to be new franchise opportunities because the virus has been a disruptor, sort of like an Uber, where the taxi industry discovered overnight, wow, there's a better way of doing this, and they got caught short, much as the post office got caught short years ago when mailboxes, etc., was created. You no longer had to go to the post office to pick up your boxed mail. You could have a post office box near your home. And by the way, you could buy stamps there. And by the way, you could take care of all your shipping there at mailboxes, etc., and get copies made too. That was another disruptor. Much like Kinko's, which is now owned by Federal Express, and mailboxes, etc., is owned by UPS. So we know it as the UPS store today. Well, there are going to be more of these disruptors coming along in franchising. Restaurants, quick service restaurants, they're never going to be the same. We won't view them the way we did before the pandemic. We're going to think differently about going to them. Supermarkets are not the same. Many people will never go to a supermarket again, or rarely go to the supermarket again. You don't have to. Or you can drive over and they'll have your groceries at the curbside and you pick them up. But you didn't have to go and get a cart and work your way through the aisles and pick up your food. Now, some people will always do that because they love doing it. Just as some people will always take taxis, they don't want to take an Uber for whatever reason. There will be new franchises popping up and many existing franchises, like in the restaurant industry, that will change the way they conduct business. But all of this creates opportunities for the future and creates opportunities for people who have never been franchisees before. So as you think about what am I going to do now, think about franchising. There are 4,000 different franchise opportunities, probably 3,000 of them at any given time. At least 2,500 to 3,000 at any given time are actively selling franchises. And you find them online. There are now online expos. We used to have, and we will again, in-person expos where people would go to the convention center and there would be a couple of hundred exhibitors and there would be a few thousand or several thousand people in a weekend who would walk through the expo to discover brands. But now we're doing that online. Or you can just find a brand name and go to their website and learn how to become a franchisee. Or you can talk to a franchise broker. Or you can take a class on franchising. Any number of ways that you can learn about it and learn about opportunities and determine what might be the right business for you. All these years, you probably have said at some point, if I had the opportunity, I would really like to be in, you fill in the blanks with whatever business it is. Well, now is probably the time. We're going to come out of this pandemic by, let's hope, late summer, if not into the fall. And of course, it's always going to be with us. And until there's a virus and even until there's a vaccine, and even then the virus is going to exist. So we've got to discover our new normal. What are we going to do next? What are you going to do next? Your new normal may be owning a franchise. And if so, check in with me again. I'm going to continue blogging on this topic. And if you're interested in franchising, you're interested in becoming a franchisee as you make a decision about what are you going to do next, I'm happy to provide you with some insights and some guidelines that you can follow. I've been writing about franchising since 1979. My books are at Amazon.com or booksbyjohnhayes.com. But I'm not suggesting that you go buy a book. You need a good book right now and during a pandemic, so why not? If you're inclined to go to booksbyjohnhayes.com, you'll find several of them about franchising, because that's not what this is all about. If you want to become a franchisee, the first step you've got to take is to find out if franchising is right for you. Are you compatible with franchising? And to do that, go to howtobuyfranchise.com and click on DISC, D-I-S-C. It'll take you about 10 minutes to complete a DISC profile. And when you do, we will give you, and this is all free, we will give you some analysis of, we'll tell you what your DISC profile is, and we'll give you an analysis of that profile, and we'll talk about how that's compatible not only with franchising, but with certain kinds of franchises. Any DISC profile can get into business, can get into franchising and succeed. And by the way, we all have a DISC profile. It's our personality DNA. So you've got one. You need to know what it is and how does that match up. If you wanted to become a franchisee, own your own business, build your own personal wealth, how do you do that from a position of strength? And that begins with your DISC profile. So go to howtobuyfranchise.com, click on DISC, complete the form. It's all easy and it's all free. And once you know the DISC profile, I'll talk to you more about that in detail and what you can do to find franchises that would be the right franchise for you to pursue. What are you going to do next? Good chance, big percentage of the people who have been furloughed are going to buy a franchise next. It's going to happen in the next 6 months to the next year or two. We're going to see a boom in franchise sales. If you want to be part of that, I'm happy to help you. I'm John Hayes. I'm the Titus Chair for Franchise Leadership at the Titus Center at Palm Beach Atlantic University, West Palm Beach, Florida. And I blog at howtobuyfranchise.com, and I interview people for the YouTube channel How to Buy a Franchise Show. Look forward to talking to you again. Thanks for dropping in.
Thank you for listening to How to Buy a Franchise Show. If you want immediate assistance, visit howtobuyafranchise.com to contact Dr. John Hayes for a free consultation.